Alright, so today for Remote Tech, we're going to be repairing an iPhone 8 Plus. I've already done a pre-check and everything checked out fine. LCD on this phone is broken, but we're still going to run a pre-check. The screen replacement for this is fairly simple, pretty similar to a 7 Plus if you've ever done one. Only major difference between those two phones hardware-wise that you're going to have to contend with is that the 8 Plus has a wireless charger that you've got to be conscientious of. And so we're going to start by working our way around the edge of the phone, separating off that adhesive. Pull that screen off the front. Voila. You're in the device. And you're going to go ahead and remove the screws covering the protection plate on the battery and the digitizer.
Awesome. And Nick, if you could just point the screwdriver once that plate's removed to the battery flex.
Of course.
Awesome.
Alright, we've got the plate up. Now on the iPhone 8 Plus, there is a wireless charger like we said a moment ago, and that's that smaller flex right here. This is the one you want to disconnect, so this is going to be your battery flex. And you'll see, if I disconnect that and I try to turn the phone on, nothing, no power. So that means our power is disconnected successfully. That's good news. Next, I'm going to take off this top plate here, which covers the flex for the proximity sensor, earpiece speaker, ambient light sensor, front camera, all that jazz. I'm going to go ahead and set this plate aside. Disconnect these flexes. Alright, this phone has been repaired before, so this is an aftermarket panel. Doesn't usually change the calculus as far as how the repair goes, but it might be easier to remove some of the things, like the front camera, because it's already been removed once. Right now I'm disconnecting, or taking out rather, all the tri-point screws that secure the plate on the home button. This is a Touch ID home button, so you'll want to make sure that you're being very cautious with it, as it is impossible to replace these if you do damage the flex. Now, we can replace them with an OEM panel, but at that point, the repair is not economical for us.
And if you could just talk us through the pressure and everything used when taking the home button apart.
Sure. So home button disconnection, what you want to do is use your Sesmo to kind of pin down that flex, and then take a thin plastic tool or a tri-point driver and just get that in the top left-hand corner of the flex, and then pop the connection there so that it folds back and you're able to access the main flex. All right. Awesome. At this point, go ahead and fold this back, and you're going to heat this flex off so that you can remove it nice and gently using your heat gun. Hold that flex down, and then heat the flex here so you can remove it nice and easily with one piece. Alright, so got that nice and hot now. Go ahead and hang this back up and then gently pull off that flex. Some light adhesive, but nothing crazy. Like I said, it has been taken apart once before, so this one came out pretty simply.
Awesome.
Alright, up at the top, you've got 5 screws that secure the plate, the retention plate for all that, all the modules and sensors up top. And I'm not using a project mat right now, but in general, you do want to use a project mat to help keep your screws aligned. Right now I'm just putting them in little clusters and keeping the screws in a like pattern. Alright, same deal here with the heat gun. Just use your heat to gently remove that top flex.
And again, Nick, what's housed there? Is the earpiece speaker and...
Yeah, so that's the earpiece speaker right here. These are your contact points for the earpiece speaker. There's a front microphone that is used for Siri and speakerphone calls. That's right there. This is going to be your ambient light sensor, and then your proximity sensor, and this is your front-facing camera.
Awesome.
So that flex controls an awful lot. You're going to be careful with it. All right, one more screw down here. It's kind of a retention screw for that back plate. Usually it's not present on the new part, so you're going to make sure you're transferring that over. Grab our new part here. Alright. This part will be a buyback, so just go ahead and take your buyback screen and place it in that box for labeling later.
Awesome.
Now we can go ahead and start transferring things over to the new panel. Let's go ahead and realign this thing because that came off during shipping. We're good. Go ahead and take off your adhesive covers.
Slip the home button through the front.
And then push that flex down and connect the FPC. Make sure that's aligned with that little post down there so that it nests as it's supposed to and it's not lifted. Little plastic post right there at the bottom of the flex. You want to be careful. Make sure it's looped right around it. Go ahead and align this. Flip it back down. You can replace the plate now on top of that home button. All four of those tri-points go right back in.
Awesome. You want to be careful not to over tighten, right?
Oh yeah, you don't want to over tighten. Don't want to under tighten either. So when you start getting resistance, you're probably good to stop. It's kind of just a feeling you have to get for it. There's not really an exact torque measuring I can give you, especially because these are torque screwdrivers. But you'll feel it after you do it a few times. If you over tighten it, you'll start to feel that you're having to fight that driver.
Good stuff.
You never have to fight it.
And the origami.
Origami here. Put your two posts down in place, then adhere the microphone, and then slot your ambient light sensor and proximity sensor in their corresponding squares. Once you've got that, grab your earpiece speaker, set that down so that the contact points make contact with the pins on the back of that earpiece. Just like that. Fold your camera over the top, clip that into the socket on the right, and then hold that down while you place the plate on top so that you can go ahead and pop those screws in. That's your top right. That's your top left. Here's your bottom right. Bottom middle. And your bottom left. Now I've got one screw left over here, and that is the back plate retention screw that I took out at the bottom. Right here to the left of the home button. This just helps hold the back plate in place. Alright, so I've got this all reassembled rather. And then I can go ahead and get that installed into the frame of the phone. Keep that there. Make sure that battery is still disconnected. It is. Go ahead and plug that top one in first. That is your least restrictive flex. You want to start from least to most restrictive. That way you've got the most range of motion while you work on these that you possibly can have. Then you're going to go for your smaller connector there. Followed right after by the longer one, which controls touch input. Small one is for display, larger one is for touch. Okay. Then you go ahead and clip that battery back into place. And and get that retention screw down. Now, you could do that top plate first, but my general preference after I connect the battery is to put the plate back on that covers the battery. It is a little bit safer. And it secures it in place. Now, the 8 Plus, unlike the 7 Plus, uses Phillips rather than tri-points for the battery connection plate, but it does still use tri-points for the proximity flex connector up top there. Set that aside, grab my top plate, insert that thing right there. Insert those tri-points in that back a little bit. Now, so we've got those connected, I'm going to go ahead and slot this screen down in the front. Work my way around the edge. Boot it up and make sure everything works. We have an Apple logo. While that's booting, I'm just going to go ahead and replace our pentaloobs as well. We can take them out and start taking a look around if we have anything amiss on the screen, but I think we should be okay. That repair went pretty smooth, so I don't foresee any problems with this post-check.
Awesome. Great job as always, Nick. And
Thanks, sir.
that, ladies and gentlemen, has been an iPhone 8 Plus repair.